Hello. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be having a schedule right now. Things are better. My mom should be released this afternoon or sometime tomorrow, hopefully. They said that the other day. We were thinking maybe she'd get released yesterday or today, but they still had to do just a couple more things, tests. Um, Better safe than sorry. But she's doing a whole lot better. Um, she's recuperating. So glad my mom is back, y'all. My mom is back. Um, she had a really severe infection. She went septic. She had pneumonia. Her blood pressure was really low. Her kidneys were barely functioning. Um, she was exhausted and dehydrated and had an infection. She didn't even know she was as sick as she was. She was so busy taking care of my dad that she didn't realize. She thought she had a virus and bronchitis. Things are better. And I hadn't created any art at all since last Wednesday. Wednesday evening is when I got the phone call that they had the ambulance had taken my dad to the hospital where they live, and then we were on our way, and my son called and said they were going to helo my dad to Charleston. Um, so it's been crazy since then. My dad passed early Thursday morning. I think my husband said it was about 7:30, 7:30. I thought it was earlier than that, but I was busy with my mom. I needed some art therapy, and I have a very vivid memory of childhood. My dad taking me and my brother. My dad was a heavy equipment operator, and he took us. It was one Saturday, and he had to do a little bit of work, but it wasn't anything major. And he took us with him, and we got to ride on the heavy equipment, and we had a blast. Me and my brother thought it was like the best thing, you know. He did that same thing with my kids. He did that same thing with my nephews. He didn't really get to drive Victor very much on heavy equipment. He did drive him on a dozer, on a loader, on a tractor, on the lawnmower, and on a four-wheeler. I have a lot of pictures of Victor being on the four-wheeler with my dad. We even have a picture of my mom on the four-wheeler with my dad. Um, we have a lot of those kind of memories along with a lot of other memories. But I needed some art therapy, and something that kept standing out in my head was, I got to work with my dad for about a year, and I got to learn how to drive the heavy equipment. I needed a break from finance, and the company I worked for, it got bought out by another company, and it took a bit of a break from working in finance. And I worked with my dad outdoors, driving heavy equipment and stuff like that for about a year. And I really enjoyed that time with him. And I learned a lot. And it was quality time with my dad that I'll always cherish. So I took some of those memories and I found an image on Google, and I looked over it, and then I created it in my journal. And you're going to see that, and I'm going to watercolors. Not the best work I've ever done, but it was art therapy, and it was very therapeutic. And I'm going to talk a bit, I'm going to do voiceover, and I'm going to talk a bit about creativity and grief, and art, and and writing as a means of therapy. And I'm going to, I think, just chat a bit during the video. I'm not going to time lapse it. I'm going to try to do a video or two once a week, but I'm not going to have a schedule for right now. But being creative, writing and art and stuff is very therapeutic for me. So it's something I'm going to need to do. It's as part of my healing process, I think. It's going to be a bit strange. I had to do something, and this is what I did to help me get back some control, I think, over my feelings and my thoughts, and like I said, a bit of art therapy. So I'm going to turn the camera around now. So I drew the scene with my dad in mind. When I worked with my dad, this was something that I did a lot during that time period. I would drive the triaxle and or the off-road dump truck, and my dad would load it. And my brother and I have actually rode in those as kids, and my kids have rode in them. That's a loader that I drew. I didn't do the best job of it, but I did pretty well considering. Over the last few days I've tried to draw, and it's like I'm starting all over. I'm having trouble drawing. Even looking at a reference, I'm having trouble drawing. And I think that's because of the anxiety and the stress. So I persisted, even though I knew it wasn't going to be my best work, even though I knew at this point I'm having trouble drawing stick figures. But I had to get it out, and I had to bypass my self-doubt and my insecurities and the fear and all the anxiety and the stress and everything, and just have some art therapy. Show up and work on it, you know? So one of the things I've noticed in my life anyway is that when I am really stressed out, really anxious, the self-doubt and the fear are in the forefront of my mind. If I can somehow bypass that to get past it, I can work through some of that. Right now, it's a little bit overwhelming when I first start, but I'm finding that if I just kind of keep at it, keep doing, keep the pen moving, even if I'm thinking that it's absolutely horrible, it helps. Being creative, whether you're writing or reading or creating art or music. Earlier, Mr. Rockstar was playing his guitar and singing. I fell asleep. I was exhausted. I finally was mourning. I had been so busy taking care of my mom that I was in a bit of limbo with my own grief. And I'm sure that my mom feels that way because my mom has been in the hospital and just recently regained herself again. The infection had her in a state of delirium, and it was really scary. And not only did I have to go through that, worried that I might lose the both of them back to back like that. I was worried that I wouldn't be strong enough to help my mom. I was worried that I couldn't be the person that I needed to be, the person that I had promised my dad I would do, that I would try, to be strong for my mom and to, take care of my mom. And then I finally got the news, that my brother called and he was picking up my mom. I talked to my mom early this morning, and she was being released, and my brother was going to get her. So it gave me a little bit of a break. The last couple of days I've had a little bit of a break because I had been at the hospital every single day. There were 2 nights I didn't spend the night over that time period, actually 3 nights. But over the past, 48 hours or so, I've been grieving and coming down from that state of fight, survive, keep my mom alive, be strong, be the rock, hold everything together. And art therapy was kind of the start of my grieving process. I wanted to get something down on paper. I wanted to get some kind of memory. Later, I think I'm going to actually do this as a sketch in black and white with graphite pencils, and then I'm going to do another one with a watercolor on a bigger sheet of watercolor and frame it. So I can practice and do a better job, because I'd like to get the one I do in the watercolor and the one I do in the sketch. I'd like to do them a little bit differently and frame them to hang up either in Victor's room or maybe one for my mom, so that's where I'm at with part of that. thinking process, you know, get better at it. I've also been thinking that perhaps I should take, you know, one or two steps at a time instead of overwhelming myself with trying to do too much, because I have a really hard time with balance when I am um, filled with anxiety, especially. So I'm thinking, you know, do a little bit. Um, I've had to do some of this in stages because there's been a lot going on. This video should have been done yesterday, but I couldn't get to it. The phone was ringing off the hook. I had things I had to do. Today was sort of the same way Mr. Rockstar and I had to clean up a little bit of the house. It's still a wreck. We had to go grocery shopping because we had absolutely no groceries in our house. We had to go pay some bills, and it's been quite hectic because I haven't really been home very much at all in over a week. The last 2 days I've been home, and then the rest of the time I came home, I slept 2 nights and took a shower and was right back at the hospital the next day. So I went out to dinner with my best friend last night after I visited my mom in the hospital, and that was very nice. I got to spend some time with her and talk. She lives in Charleston, and I needed that. I needed that time away. Mr. Rockstar cleaned the bathroom, including the bathtub, and ran water for me so I could he put bath salts in it so I could take a bath and relax. And he poured me a glass of wine, but I told him I felt better, that I was really just too overwhelmed and stressed and anxious and stuff to drink anything like that. So I drank some green tea and relaxed, and that did me a world of good. And I know, I have decaf coffee, but I really wanted some green tea. So I think there's this part of, at least as a creative person, there's this part of us that needs to get our feelings and our thoughts and stuff out. And the best way sometimes for us to do that is by whatever creative medium we favor. For me, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's art, sometimes it's the combination of both. Um, and this page, I'm not going to write on. I think I may end up doing some cursive at the bottom, some pretty lettering, and I may just write my dad's name and his date of birth and the date of his death and leave it at that. I may not write anything. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I created this yesterday, and it was very much needed. When I think about different things as far as my creativity goes, I remember when I was grieving for my daddy when I was young. When my daddy died, I did a lot of reading. I escaped through books. This time around, I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of writing and art. I've tried to do some reading, and it just isn't working this time around. And maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I need to be a little bit more physically active. I've done a ton of walking in the past week, pacing back and forth down hospital hallways, out of the hospital and around the hospital outside to get a breath of fresh air. And the exercise has really been good for me. So I think I may see if I can find my tape recorder, or I may end up taking my phone and just kind of do some walking and do some thinking for outlining for my novel for NaNoWriMo. I'm still going to be writing for NaNoWriMo. I will, however, be doing some videos for everything like on YouTube and Patreon, but I don't really have a schedule right now. Things are still sort of up in the air. My mom has to do some physical therapy. I'm going to be spending quite a bit more time with my mom and with Victor, and I'm hoping with my son and my daughter. because we're all grieving. And Victor doesn't understand, but he does understand that Pepe's not here, and he's having a hard time with my mom being in the hospital. And I'm hoping that this will help that some. Um, you know, I'm going to be spending a little bit of time with him tomorrow, and then one of my aunts is taking him with her and her grandchild to Chuck E. Cheese and stuff for a birthday party. So I'm hoping that will help him a little, get him out of the house. And tomorrow's my daughter's birthday, and by the time you're getting this video, it's going to be Saturday. So it will be my daughter's 26th birthday. And give her a break. And I'm going to go visit my mom, my husband and I. Mr. Rockstar has to work Sunday, so I'm going to get quite a bit done Sunday around the house. I have a lot of cleaning to do, and I have a lot of work to do. I need to clean my creative room. I need to clean the house. I need to vacuum and all the stuff that dust furniture. The dust is so thick on my furniture, y'all. But I'm going to do it little by little. I'm going to do some house cleaning, and then I'm going to do some filming and create some art. And then I'm going to do some more house cleaning, and then I'm going to do some writing, some outlining stuff for my novel. And I think if I can alternate, be physically active, and then with cleaning, and then physically active in a different way with art and writing, although I'd be sitting in a chair, it will be somewhat physical, but it will be very mental. And when I'm really stressed out, sometimes I clean, and that helps clear my head. So I'm hoping that some of that regular daily routine kind of stuff will help me as well. And I think whatever it is that works, everybody deals with grief differently. For me, it's going to be quite a few different things. But I have felt the urge to do something creative, to write, to draw, to watercolor. I may be doing quite a bit of watercolor swatches to kind of get back into the swing of things. I might be drawing some more cartoon figures, some Snoopy figures. Haven't really made up my mind, but I need to get back into, and I feel like right now I've got this block because my art's not turning out the way that I want it to at all, and I don't know if that's the stress and the anxiety, or if it's a block or what it is, but I know it has a lot to do with my emotions, and like I said, the stress and the anxiety I think are a big part of it. So I know I have to get past that. Mr. Rockstar and I were talking, and it hit me really hard. He said he knew it was going to, because I was in fight, survive, keep my mom, you know, alive mode, and for nearly a week, and that's all I could think about. I couldn't let myself think about very much else, and that made it really difficult to come down off of that. And I'm finally doing that, and I'm grieving at the same time. And I know this is a very personal video, but there are other people out there who are struggling. People whose family members have cancer, people who have cancer. And we, as a society, need to do a little bit better job of talking about the real things. And one of the things I've tried to stay with on YouTube is not flight of fancy things, not to keep, the fads are hard. The fads are very hard to resist sometimes. Very tempted to succumb to different fads, but I try to keep it real, to talk about some of the things that I struggle with in regard to those temptations of, the shiny new objects, the shiny new ideas, the, different things. I've also tried to keep it real as far as my struggle goes with being creative on an everyday basis, to writing on an everyday basis, to creating art on an everyday basis, to having follow through, and Getting better with time management and balance. Oh, I still so need to work on balance. But a lot of that, I've been trying to keep. This is a chronicle of my journey, creatively speaking, my creative life. It has to do with writing, it has to do with art and journaling. And every now and again, I talk about books I read. Right now, I'm reading Tarot and Astrology by Corin Kenner, as well as a few other books. I got the entertainment magazine with Stephen King, all about Stephen King, and I've been reading articles in it as well. I had originally thought I might use some of the stuff in that magazine and use it as fodder, as ephemera in my journals. But I'm not going to tear that magazine apart. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Some people love him, some people hate him, some people only like some of his stuff. And that's cool. Stephen King got me through a really hard time in my life and continues to do so. And I am trying to finish up The Wind Through the Keyhole so I can talk about that book. He has some new books out that I need to get, and a new book coming out with his son that he wrote, and I think there are a few others that I don't have and I would like to do. I still need to get the P.O. box. I'm hoping that on the 21st, probably next weekend, I'm hoping that by the 23rd or the 24th of October, I can get the P.O. box. I just haven't, one, I haven't had a chance because of everything that happened. And then the one day I had the money, I ended up having something else come up. You know how car issues do, and things like that. And so I'm hoping to have the P.O. box by like Monday or Tuesday on the 23rd, and I will let you guys know when I get that. I've done a few little things to touch it up since this, but for the most part, this is what it looks like. I've also done a journal page about my emotions, where, my emotions and my fears and things were crashing down against me. It felt like I was on a precipice, a cliff. Okay, and here is something that I got that was new to me. Whipping Post Oxblood Tote. Thanks, y'all.